In almost 10,000 square kilometers of African savanna, more than 7,000 elephants roam free. The second largest elephant population in Kenya. But there is something happening here that almost nobody talks about. 2 out of every 3 elephants you see don't live inside the national park. They live beyond the park boundaries, sharing the landscapes with people. Roads, farms, and village. Every year, they follow ancient routes that their families have used for centuries. Invisible paths that don't appear in Google Maps. And today, they are disappearing.
Here we are in Nairobi, a city that is loud, crowded, and in constant movement. And maybe that's the perfect place to start this history, because most of the people, when they think in a wildlife Africa, they imagine remote places, far away from cities, far away from the roads and from people. But Kenya doesn't work like that. Because here in Nairobi, a home of more than 5 million of people lives alongside the wildlife. In a short drive from here, you can see a national park full of giraffes, rhinos, elephants, and lions. And that's what we are going to do here. We are going to safari to Laikipia. It's a short drive from here, like 3 hours, and we will start our adventure there tomorrow. So welcome to Kenya.
There's a lot of conflict of people with wildlife because sometimes the elephants go out of the ranches and go into people's farms. So they eat all the crops and the people are left without food, and they don't expect compensation from the government coming immediately. So they have now to start fighting with the lions, they have to start chasing the elephants away, they have to chase the buffaloes, they have to do a lot. The people have to be armed with bows and arrows so that they can, free their farms from the animals. Because once the animals infect their farms, the people are left without. So the next thing they do is start fighting with the animals. Some of them get killed, like the elephants are very wild animals, and sometimes even the elephants come for revenge because the elephants have good memories. Sometimes they remember how they were chased away from the farms. So this time they come to revenge. And believe me and trust me, whoever they meet on the way has to die.
Today we are traveling to Nyahururu. From there, we will start our second trip into Laikipia. Laikipia is a region that few tourists visit in Kenya.
Whoa.
This region is one of the most important places in Africa for the future of the wildlife conservation.
We just arrived in Nyahururu, in the middle of Kenya, in the region of Laikipia. Today looks like a quiet place, but this place, for centuries, was full of wildlife movement. Now we understand more what happened here in this land in Laikipia, because for centuries, Masai and Samburu were following the rains through these lands with their cattle. But the problem was that elephants were doing exactly the same. Later on the time, the British arrived here to this area, and they start to draw lines on the map, build some fences, and also privatize the ranch, and everything can start to change. Tomorrow we are pointing to the north of Laikipia, to All Mysore, because we want to follow the traces of these ancient routes.
Laikipia was never an empty wilderness waiting to be discovered. Long before wildlife tourism, private conservancies, or safari logs existed, these high plains were home to pastoral communities who depended on movement to survive. For Masai, Samburu, and related groups, land wasn't something that could be divided into fixed plots.
Hello!
It wasn't a place where one fence ended and another began. it was a living landscape. In dry seasons, communities moved towards permanent water sources. When the rains arrived, they followed fresh grazing areas. Routes changed depending on drought, disease, conflicts, and the availability of pasture. Mobility wasn't a choice, it was a survival. Wildlife followed a remarkable similar logic. Elephants, giraffes, zebras, and countless other species move across the same landscapes in the search of water and food. For centuries, people and wildlife shared these open spaces. But colonial rule introduced a very different way of understanding land. In the 1950s, more than 30,000 square kilometers of Kenya's most fertile land had already been taken under British colonial rule. To colonial administrators, land that wasn't fenced, farmed, or permanently settled often looked empty. So it was surveyed, divided, and allocated to European settlers. Fence appeared where none had existed. Private ranches replaced open rangelands. Movement became restricted. But the consequences went far beyond people. What happened to pastoralized communities also happened to elephants. Both depended on movement, both relied on seasonal water, both followed routes that had been used for generations. And as fences, roads, and properties boundaries spread across the landscapes, it wasn't only human pathways that disappeared. Ancient elephants' corridors disappeared too.
Good morning, everyone. We just left Nyahururu and we are pointing to the north, to Laikipia. And the first thing that surprised to me, that this doesn't look like a national park because I don't see any fences here. There are no gates, there are no fences or any signal that says wildlife lives here.
For example, here we can see farms, villages, and livestock, and people is doing their daily life.
And yet, somewhere out there should be elephants, lions, giraffes, and zebras, all mixed together, and that's what makes this place so special. Hello, how are you? Bye. We have got 5 kilometers on the track and we are full of dust. The terrain is so bumpy, as you can see, but it's really nice. It's so beautiful on the landscape. Well, so we're saying it in the morning. We are following the track to All My Sword, and it's a straight line right now because we are following this path. And as we can see, in this part of here, it's full of ranch because on the left we can see a bench, and also on the right. So all of this is private ranch, and I hope that in the future we will see what I was saying, that we will find wildness on both sides. So I will keep you updated. It's very big territories. Hello! Yeah. Yeah, and as you can see, the people is very nice. Well, now we can say that we're in the middle of the savannah. So welcome to a safari with your own bike. Wow, and now, like you can see, we are getting in. We are just to arrive in 8 kilometers to All My Sword. So, the road is end, and now we are back in the dust. Hello!
Unlike many other parts of Kenya, only a small fraction of Laikipia is protected as national park. The rest is a mosaic of former ranches, community land, and conservancies covering almost 1 million hectares, which means wildlife can still move freely across much of landscapes. About 40 years ago, local landlords and communities made a different choice. Instead of asking how to remove wildlife, they asked how the wildlife could help to sustain the land. Tourism created jobs, conservation generated income, and local communities began sharing those benefits. That simple idea gave birth to the conservancy model. Today, Laikipia is one of the very few places in Kenya where wildlife populations are no longer declining. They are growing, and the results are extraordinary. Nearly half of the Kenyans' black rhinos live here. It's also home to one of Africa's most important populations, endangered African wild dogs. It still has the power to surprise us.
Okay, we just arrived here to All My Sword. It's a ranch that it works with cattle, horses, and many other animals, but also it's co-living with another animals, the animals of the wildlife that we will see tomorrow. we try to see zebras, giraffe, elephants, and lions.
Today, we are leaving the bikes behind, because if we want to understand what makes Laikipia so special, we first need to experience the wildlife that calls this place home. And that means heading out on a safari here, at Old Mysore. It's impossible not to be impressed by a place like this. In just few hours, we have seen elephants, giraffe, lions and zebras, all moving through the same landscape. A landscape that feels wild, untouched, almost timeless. Looking around, it's easy to believe it has always been this way. And even easier to believe it always will be. But that's the illusion.
Now, here is the most uncomfortable part of this safari, because see these animals roaming free in the lands was incredible. But what most people doesn't really know, this wildlife conservation is not guaranteed. In fact, it's really fragile.
A recent study by the Smithsonian Institution revealed something surprising. The biggest threat to wildlife in Laikipia isn't poaching, it isn't even climate change. It's the livestock density. The pattern is remarkably simple. The more livestock there is, the less wildlife survives. And the opposite is true as well. Which means the animals we are seeing today aren't here by chance. They are still here because people are actively managing the balance between wildlife and livestock. But balance is fragile. Over the last 2 decades, species such as the reticulated giraffe, grevy's zebras and the Vaisia oryx have disappeared from more than half of the areas they once occupied in Laikipia. Not because they were hunted, not because they were poached, but because little by little, there was simply less space left for them to live.
There are many of them. Wow. Incredible. That's a very magic moment. I can't believe it. Living a life safari. Whoa. Today we start our journey from the sunrise. We start on Old Mysore and we're pointing to Naibunga upper headquarters, and the only town that we have ahead is at the beginning, so there is nothing else on this track. We will just cross to the corridor of the elephants. So let's see. So we, after 5 kilometers of today, from Old Mysore, you can see the fences down there, but it finishes from here. So from this point, we are on our own. So we can find these same animals, elephants, we can see also zebras, giraffe, and all the animals that we have here in this part of Kenya. Sí. We have already seen an elephant right now. After 6 kilometers of the track of today, there are crossing animals everywhere. So now we can say we are in the wildlife corridor.
We have to stop here because we've seen a couple of zebras down there. And also we've seen crossing an elephant. So we are waiting a little bit.
The thing is that we have already done around 30 kilometers and we haven't found any sign of nothing that says that you are in a wildlife corridor. And the most important thing is that actually the animals know that exists this corridor. But most of the family animals from here know from generation these corridors, which brings directly to the history of the Arden, the elephant.
In August 2024, researchers from Save the Elephants received unusual GPS signals. They tracked more than 200 elephants across Kenya, but this one caught their attention. A female called Arden, the matriarch of a family known as royals, had left Samburu National Reserve and was heading west, nearly 150 kilometers, towards Old Oniru, right through the wildlife corridors connecting Samburu and Laikipia, the very landscape we are riding through today. And here is what made the journey extraordinary. Her family hadn't used that route for more than 20 years. Arden led her calves, her sisters, and the older matriarchs across the roads, village and human settlements hadn't existed the last time her family made the journey. They spent 3 weeks in Old Oniru, before returning along exactly the same route, a path she had learned from the mother 2 decades earlier, long before many of the roads, fences, and settlements that now cut across this landscape. And it makes me wonder, if Arden had to wait 20 years before the journey became possible again, how many more chances will elephants have to remember these ancient routes before they disappear forever?
So, this is what makes Laikipia different. Because the goal is not separate wildlife from the people. It's to help them to live together. And that's exactly what the conservancy is trying to do. Okay, now we are about to cross the most dangerous part of the day, even of the trip, because we've been talking with Eric and he explained us that this part of the track is dangerous because there are many wildlife crossing from one side to another. Now here they're making full water, probably. Nanyuki. Probably they need water to the village and they come this place to take the water. And look, we just arrived to a small village, Maasai village. They have houses on the left and the right, but not so many of them. So it looks like maybe there's 5 families, something like that. And they live here with their livestock, cattle, and all the animals. And now we arrive to the Wakumbe campsite. Oh, it's beautiful.
Sleep.
So we are in the middle. So now we are in the middle of the safari by bike. And now we are crossing one of the most dangerous points that many people explain us on the last stage, because many wildlife here crossing from one side to another one. So both of us, we are taking care and waiting for ourselves, because if not, it would be a tragedy. But don't think about it. Just cycle and enjoy that. So now we are about to cross a village, which I don't know if they are Maasai or Samburu tribe, but it's a perfect example which explains that wildlife and people live together here. Now we just left the village, we make a pit stop, we bought 4 chapati, and we also meet the family that they were cooking it. Nice people. Ale, ale! Ale, ale! ¿Y ahora qué? Yo no sé hablar camello o dromedario. Hostia puta, socio. Increíble. Como me da una patada. We just passed the kilometer 40 of the day. and we are in a part of the track that it's quite fast, so we are taking profit of it. Ciao! Hello! Hello! Bye bye! Look how the landscape changed. Looks more like a savannah. So beautiful. Changed a little bit from yesterday. And also for us, it's easier to see any animal. Well, I'm just about to show you two families of elephants here in front of the other side of the valley. It's quite impressive. This part of the valley is full of elephants. Hello. 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 Hello, how are you? So, we are leaving now the Nanyuki headquarters. Now we are pointing to our next stage. We just leave now these mountains to another side. So you will explain it. Look at this sun, how beautiful it is. We are now standing in around 1,800 meters. Let's see how this day is going on. And today we are going to keep our route through the Laikipia county, trying to see more animals, more the wildlife, and enjoy this journey.
When they reach here to a big river there, a big river there,
Yeah?
you turn right.
Turn right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Go!
As long as we are getting closer to Nanyuki, wildlife starts to disappear and we start to find more towns, more villages, and more people around. Hello. Are you going to school? Yes. Good. So today we leave these parts of the mountain and now we are pointing to Nanyuki. Nanyuki is a big town, so it will be a little bit different. So now we just leave these remote places and we will see how everything changes from here. There are many dromedaries here. Whoa! They almost fight. We also have been talking with the people of this area, and they explain us that they have been living here for the generations, 4 generations, and sharing life also with the wildlife. It's a fact that local people, the communities, try to help to preserve this wildlife in this area of Laikipia. Now we are close to arrive to Nanyuki, and this is gonna be the end of our trip, of this adventure that we live together. After 1 week riding here, we've learned many things about wildlife, about how the community is sharing. It's incredible. It's very different about the experience that we got at the beginning of the trip when we arrived to Nairobi. So people here is different. They don't expect you to be here, and they open the house. They just want you to show you how they live and know where you're going and what you're doing here. But just curious. Also, when we stop by just to have a drink, to stop to drink water or to see the map, and maybe someone comes to say, are you okay? Do you need anything? So they are very, very, very helpful here in this area, in these remote areas. So very thankful people. Now we are on a tarmac section, so let's see if the bike gets faster. And hopefully we can arrive to Nanyuki very soon. Yes, we are arriving to the finish line. We are arriving to Nanyuki very soon.
Over the last days, we follow elephants' corridors, cross community lands, explore conservancies, and met the people helping to protect this landscape. Tomorrow we will leave these landscapes behind and begin our journey back to Nairobi, and with it, some final reflections on everything we've learned along the way.
Alright, we just arrived to Nanyuki, and for us, this marks the end of this trip. And yeah, after 6 days crossing wildlife corridors, communities and conservancies, it feels a little bit strange to be in a place with so many people here in Nanyuki. Over the last week, we have been in a region of Kenya that not so many visitors know. It's a place where wildlife, conservation and people are all part of the same history. The ride may be over, but we just start understanding this place. And yes, almost 1 week ago, we started this trip in Nehururu without knowing exactly what we will find in the Laikipia. Today, we are leaving Laikipia with so much better understanding of what makes this place so special. And this is something that we will carry home with us.
When I first came to Kenya, I thought this journey would be about wildlife, about elephants, about rare species, about extraordinary landscapes, and it was. But somewhere along the way, I realized this history was never really about animals. It was about coexistence. Because protecting wildlife is easy where nobody lives. The real challenge is protecting it where people and wildlife need the same land, the same water and the same space. That's what makes Laikipia so remarkable. Not the wildlife still survives here, but the people have found a way to make its survival part of their own future. I've seen elephant corridors crossing working ranges. I have seen communities choosing conservation because it's part of their future. I have seen women like Mama Tembu protecting paths that most people will never notice. And I have followed the story of an elephant called Arden, who remembered a route her family hadn't walked in more than 20 years. None of this happened by accident. It exists because every single day someone chose to protect it. Because in the end, the future of the wildlife won't be decided by elephants or by people. It will be decided by whether both can continue sharing the same landscape. Every wild place survives only if we are willing to leave room for the wild.